Tutorial 12. Validate input. In this video, we'll look at validating input by the end user to verify the content being provided. First example that we'll look at will validate a telephone number. To do this, we'll open up the configuration form for the contact stream. We'll need to add a custom action, so pin your form, scroll down and add a custom action. We'll call this Validate Contact. We'll use the same name for the display name. Expand the action validation section and we'll enter an expression to verify the content entered by the users. The validation expression that we will use will check the phone number typed in only contains numbers or spaces. You'll be familiar with creating expressions from the modelling course. We'll start by wrapping our expression in a do statement. Then we'll write an if statement to check if on the form the contact number entered only contains numbers or spaces. Here we're going to add a regular expression just to check for the number and spaces. The exclamation mark before the matches just indicates that if our contact number doesn't meet this criteria, we will run the next statement. Here we will add an error message, and this will be received by the user if they don't conform to this standard. Now we'll close the if statement, save our changes and move down to the stream item action rules. We need to add an action. We'll call this Validate Contact. The stream item action will be Update. Now this is important because we'll be adding this action to an existing one. We'll copy the values by name, save all of our changes, and now we can now add our action as a custom action to an existing button. Open the dashboard Contact Manager and remember to unlock it so that we can edit it. Drag the action Validate Contact onto our Add button and switch to App Mode to test it. Now we'll go back to our Validate Contact action and we'll add some additional code to the expression. Here I'm just going to add some comments so that I can make a note of what each part of the expression is doing. As we're adding an additional statement, we'll need to add a comma after the previous if statement. Now I'm going to add another if statement, but as our statement is getting quite long, I'm going to expand out the box into a separate window. I'm now going to check the first name and family name both have data inside them. If they don't, then we'll throw an error message. Using the error function in this way inside a validation expression will stop the action at this point and no data is added. I'm going to use an OR statement to check both the first name and the family name. And if either one of them is empty, we'll add an error statement just to let the end user know that both names need to be populated. Close the if statement, and now we'll save all of our changes. Just going to add a space in front of my comments there to make them easier to read. Now I'll switch to app mode and test my validation. If your statement is correct, you'll see the error message on the screen like we have now. However, if there's an issue inside your validation expression, you may get an error like the following. If this happens, we'll go back into our validation expression and just check that we have all of the commas in the right place. A common error is to forget the comma between our first if statement and the second one. Also check that you've closed both of your if statements with a closing bracket. Save your changes and retest your script.